We're going to talk about um, functional vision disorders. So I only recently learned about this. For backstory, I've dealt with headaches and migraines most of my life. Um, and so obviously, a number of times I've gotten my eyes checked to see if that's what's causing it. And everything was always fine. I I've always had 20/20 vision, so obviously lucky in that regard. Um, as I don't know, obviously as you get older, your eyes change in different things. And after I found out I had EDS, I went and got them checked again just because I know EDS can definitely cause some issues with your eyes just because, connective tissue. It's all connected. So what anyways, that test was fine. So, um, and I've had scans of my head. Everything's fine there too. So, anyways, I just went on living my life. But still continue to kind of deal with like blurriness sometimes, the migraines, auras, sometimes just I've had a hard time with reading comprehension throughout my life, and which is funny now because I did read a lot all the time. But I think I've just found ways to cope or summarize or kind of like speed read in a way, just because I don't always necessarily read books that are like really intense and heavy. Because clearly have a lot harder time retaining that information. So, a little while back, I came across somebody that I followed on Instagram, and she, like, randomly in one of her stories, and like, I don't always watch everybody's stories, but for whatever reason on this day, I was looking at hers, and she mentioned BVD, and I had no idea what that acronym meant. And for some reason, I was pulled to go look it up. So it's BVD stands for binocular vision disorder. And after I read about it briefly, I was like, oh my gosh, maybe that's what my problem is. It's not so much about like, you know, your, it's more about how your eyes work together. Um, so that cannot be detected on a regular eye exam. So I did some searching and I found a place in Eden Prairie called Minnesota Vision Therapy Center. They treat a lot of pediatric patients and they also do treat adults, but I guess a lot of times it's caught earlier on in, younger patients. But I think, due to the time period of when I was younger, they just didn't have a lot of this type of stuff available or people didn't know about it. And I also still don't think many people know about it, which is why I'm making this video. Because if any of this like rings true to you, then I don't know, maybe I'm helping somebody else. So, anyways, so went to this place and had my mom drive me up, and the evaluation in total is about an hour and a half. Of course, I had to fill out some pretty extensive paperwork beforehand, and then I met with one of the therapists. Her name was Mindy. She was absolutely delightful, and she was knowledgeable in like chronic illness and Ehlers-Danlos and different things like that, which was a huge win for me. Um, so we kind of just, yeah, talked. She asked me a lot of questions, talked me through different things. I'll also highlight the other reason I kind of like went for it and made an appointment is because on their website they have a um, basically like a symptom checklist. And so you kind of go through and then check any of the issues that you have, and then it gives you a score at the bottom. And they have it kind of set up of like not likely to have one, maybe moderately likely, and then anything over the score of 30 is like, yeah, you probably definitely have a functional vision disorder. So I scored 50. Um, so, well over 30. Um, so it just, so there's other things on the, I should have printed it out. There's other things on the list too, like car sickness. Um, which yeah, definitely struggle with getting nausea on car rides. Which kind of randomly actually, like, I didn't have that necessarily all my life. It just, like, definitely ramped up more. Um, I mean, probably at least a decade ago, but it wasn't always obviously apparent. And then obviously, like I said, the migraines and the headaches, like having issues like tracking words to the next line. Um, just like things going blurry or jumping around. Oh, another big one is like if you're reading something closer and then if you go to look at something far, like do you have issues doing that? Um, I'm kind of blanking on some of the other ones, but it's a pretty extensive list. Um, anyways, this has been ever since I had sepsis, like things have gotten a lot worse in this regard. So it's been a major, major struggle for me trying to work because um, in the tax world, we work with a lot of different software programs, and I have three computer screens. And so it was just like it gets really, really hard for me to stay focused like on my task. And it's not that I don't know how to do it or any of those things. Like it was just like a task that's supposed to take like 5 minutes, like would take me so much longer because I had to like continually force myself to like keep going because I'd want to get like distracted or like drift off or like just because like I don't know if it subconsciously I was realizing like I don't know things were going like blurry or off sometimes. I don't even know exactly what it is, but as you can imagine, like, going through lots of different programs at a time to complete each like step. So I did better with things that were more, I don't know, kind of like stagnant, didn't take as many um different programs or having to look at multiple screens all the time. And I think this is also why I just have not been able to write like my blog stuff for a long time. Like I just can't, I don't know, it's just been really hard for me to do. And so it's just been easier to talk because I don't need to sit like on my phone or on a computer or I don't know. It's, yeah, something like changed after I went through all of that. So obviously, brain oxygen, I'm dealing with a lot more like tachycardia issues. I've been tracking like my blood oxygen level now. That's a new Apple just got that update in their last software thing, so you can track it on your watch now if you have a newer model. Um, so like, there'll be days where it's fine in a normal range, and then other times like it drops below 95%. Obviously, below 90 would be even worse. But it's still kind of strange to me sometimes that it drops lower than that. So I don't know for sure what that has to do with anything. I still have, whatever. Just ignore me. Sorry. Okay, so then sorry, at the evaluation I did things like, reading different note cards, connecting like a letter with a number. No, they would all have lines and stuff that I had to follow like with my eyes. They did like a test where I had to stay looking at like the center. I would have one eye covered. I'd have to look at the center and then like different dots would come in. So it was kind of like a peripheral vision thing, but then I had to say what color the dot was. Um, let me tell you, it is very, very hard to do this test because you can't move your eyes. So even though I could see like a dot coming in, I couldn't move my eyes to look at it to see what color it was. I literally had to stay centered the whole time, which is very was very challenging for me to do. Um, and there was other things too. Yeah, she was just like, you can't like turn your head or you can't move your eyes. You have to stay still. And I'm like, oh man. And then one of the other things that I recently discovered when I was doing the checklist and stuff, it mentions like, do you move your head like to one side or the other side when you're reading or doing something? And so now I catch myself doing it like all the time. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize this was a thing or even that I did it that often. Um, so yeah, I guess you just kind of develop like weird habits to like cope with the, like convergence type stuff. It's yeah, so that was just really fascinating. Um, so yeah, I talked with Mindy for about an hour and just kind of went through a lot of stuff. She had questions. And then I met with like the doctor, optometrist, and he did some different eye testing stuff. Not like your normal like eye test. It was just some different things like I don't know, like they'd have like objects and like they kind of are like spread out. So you'd have to be like, well, which shape is like the closest to you and which one's far away, like that type of stuff. And he would do different um like reading lenses and types of stuff and different things with your right or left eye. Um, but yeah, so it was, yeah, that was really interesting and kind of neat. Before I left, so I have a consult tomorrow to go over everything in my results. So I don't have a lot of information right now or like what their suggestion or recommendation would be or anything like that. But he did mention like I definitely have convergence insufficiency, which basically means that like when things are closer to me, like my eyes struggle to both like be able to go inwards to see it. And then the other one's called amblyphobia, amblyopia. I don't remember, but I know what it means. Okay, wait, that means is like one eye is like more clear than the other eye. So even though I have 20/20 vision and I can definitely like see with both of my eyes, my right eye is not as like strong and stuff isn't as clear. And so usually what that means is my left eye is probably like overcompensating for my right eye a lot. I don't know how exactly or what that all means, but that part is actually really, really common in people. Most people probably just don't know about it. Um, so yeah, so that was interesting. But yeah, I will have a consult tomorrow. So I'll come back and do part two and share with you what my results are. Bye.